Hi everybody and welcome to my brand new series. It's the Metroid Prime trilogy. Well, no, it's only the first game in the trilogy for now. But I might eventually play the other two games in the trilogy, but let's begin with the first game in the series, Metroid Prime. Let's dive on through. Now, I'm playing this on a Wii U, so I have to pick a Mii profile, I believe. Those Miis look nothing like me. I already have two save files. The first one doesn't have any progress, so I guess we can just use that one. No need to erase it. Let's start single player, and we do have the choice of the three Metroid Prime games right from the get-go. Don't have to clear one off the other. You can play whichever one you want to begin with, although I think it's a little bit more usual to go in order. If you really want to play 2 or 3 first, then feel free. I mean, the game's not stopping you. And I'm going to pick veteran difficulty because I've played this game a few times and I would consider myself a veteran, in quotation marks. Remains to be seen how well I'll do, but let's jump into Metroid Prime. Let's go!
The cosmos. In the vast universe, the history of humanity is but a flash of light from a lone star. The life of a single person should be lost in space and time. But among the stars, there is one light that burns brighter than all others. The light of Samus Aran. Her battles extend beyond her life and etch themselves into history. Here, another chapter of that history will be written.
Alright, let's begin. As the first 3D Metroid game, we have new controls to get used to. This was actually my first Metroid game. I haven't played any of the Metroid games before this one. And I started with the trilogy version, which came out in 2009, I believe. So yeah, I was pretty late coming to the Metroid series, to be honest. I hadn't played like Super Metroid or any of the other like classics before it. So yeah, my first Metroid experience was a 3D Metroid. And there are a few new things to get used to if you've only played 2D Metroids before, but not any of the Prime games. The Third Dimension does bring a few new things, such as visors, including the scan visor. And scanning is quite a big part of Metroid Prime games. Oh yeah, I probably need to change this. So we've got to shoot these switches. It's pretty much just training, locking onto things and aiming at them. But as you can see, we've locked onto the target, but we still have like free control over our reticle. And we can strafe around whatever we've locked onto, so that's general just fit. It's good for like packs of enemies, but we haven't really got enemies to begin with. We just got stationary targets we need to shoot down. But what I really want to do, let me just boot up the options real quick, go on over, and what I think I want to do is lock on free aim, and I want to turn that off. Generally, I find that to be more useful, and I believe it's how lock-on worked in the original versions of, well, the first 2 Prime games anyway, on the GameCube. Now, I understand motion controls aren't for everyone, but I think they work quite well in this game, and turning off that free aim kind of helps a bit if you haven't got a steady hand, like myself. We need to shoot doors to open them. As per the Metroid tradition, they basically serve as loading screens in case you weren't aware. And in this room we have to scan this panel first to depressurize the room and then shoot the door. It's a weird random waiting area. I don't know why they force you to wait for this door to open specifically. Yeah, they're basic loading screens. these doors. Yeah, that's the only reason behind it, is to mask the loading screens. And we have a first wide open area, and there's an enemy down there. So let's start scanning things. So this is going to be a 100% run of Metroid Prime. That is grabbing every collectible upgrade and stuff like that, but also getting all of the scans, all of the logbook scans. The logbook is pretty much just research notes. It's hard to describe, but we can scan lots of various objects throughout the game, like creatures and general bits of lore. And as you can see right here, I can't move the cursor around when locked onto that guy. That's the free aim coming in there. But as you can see, there are loads and loads of scan points throughout the game. Scanning doors and various things, but these are just optional things that don't get added to the logbook. It's just general flavour text finding more information about the environment you're in. And if you want to, you can scan that stuff, but to be honest, there's just way too much of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do like the mandatory scans, which are like elevators and stuff, and I'm also going to fill in the logbook. And hopefully, with a little bit of editing magic, I'll be able to scan things like so, and have it come up on the screen and remain there. I know there are some people who don't really like the scanning feature. I guess it is a bit controversial. I think it's just to do with the fact that it's a bit time consuming and it slows the pace of the game down. So yeah, that's why I'm trying to edit the scanned articles. I don't want to keep them on the screen for too long. The static images and like read along with the descriptions, I think they'll just take far too long. Scanning does have some perks. It can make for some good world building, but I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea. Just whipping out the scan visor every now and then, and just randomly scanning things. And here's a mandatory scan. We have to scan this to activate an elevator projector. Step into that, and then that'll send us down. So yeah, there are a few things like that. Those don't get added to the logbook, but we have to scan them nonetheless. Just proceed onwards. Let's climb on through here. Got a timer roll through here. Check the electricity. Yes, morph ball, very slick in 3 dimensions. I feel like that was a nice touch when developing a Metroid game and keeping like the staple morph ball for a 3D game, switching from first person straight into third person, and then very seamless, very nice, I will admit. So is that dormant? Oh, that was weird. I thought the door was shut down, but it wasn't. Okay, another scan up here. Let's back away behind the corner. And it's an auto-defense turret, and it requires us to use our missiles, which are tied to the directional pad on the Wiimote. I'm not sure what they'd be if you were using a GameCube controller, like the original GameCube version. Also, a bit of a problem with the pointer controls is that sometimes they're a bit twitchy, but I guess it depends on the environment you're in. That is, your living environment. Like there might be some lights that interfere with the Wiimote, the infrared. But there's another scan right here. And I will say right now, there are some missable scans, and in fact, the location we're at right now, the frigate Orpheon, there's like, I think there's 3 or 4 missable scans on this place. So yeah, you need to be quite vigilant if you want to fill in the logbook, because there are some things you can miss. And this first area, yeah, there's a few. The Parasite is one of them as well. That was our first scan in the initial like big room. Yeah, also got some dead space pirates. These space pirates don't count towards the scanning, but I don't know why. They are essentially enemies. They are doing a bit of damage. This is energy. Pick it up to heal yourself up, and I don't need to use the other one, but I will save it for that. And yeah, you draw in pickups by using your charge beam like this. As you saw, we just dragged in that small energy over there, and there's another space pirate just half dead on the ground. Gonna fish him up. And let's scan one of these small energies, just because that does get added to the logbook as well. And I need to pick it up. Okay, let's proceed onwards. We can have a look at the map, because it's a pretty straight line, the first area, Frigate Orpheon. Got to head straight down to this circular chamber, and it might have looked like we missed a path back here, but we really haven't. That's a... let's just say that's the way back, shall I say. If you haven't played this game before, I don't really want to spoil too much. Oh, hello. That auto-defense turret, got to use missiles. Or a charge shot does work as well. And up there is a small missile ammunition, which we can draw in if it's too far out of our reach. The charge beam. Let's fire it off. That's a nice touch as well. Like they really did think about a lot of stuff. It's a very well designed game. this Metroid game. And a nice step into the third dimension for the series. Oh, hello, Space Pirate. I see you. As soon as I come out of scan visor view here, you can start shooting me, I can tell. Okay, let's missile you up. I think a couple of missiles should do. Yep, blast him back. And here we have a morph ball slot, so let's go on in and lay a morph ball bomb. Don't get used to all this stuff, by the way. The morph ball and the morph ball bombs and the charge beam. Because there's Metroid tradition somewhere around here. Also, there are more defense turrets up there, but well, they're not active until we enter the room, so let's just deal with them ahead of time. Might as well be safe. Better to be safe than sorry. And I do need to scan that, but there's an optional door to the side. Go in here. This is a save station. I'm going to quickly scan that as well. I'm not going to scan everything at like the earliest opportunity. Like, there will be some stuff that I skip over. Like, there are several save stations throughout the game. I didn't need to scan that one. I could have scanned any of them. But yeah, I'm not. There are going to be some things that I miss, but don't worry about it, because I do have like a plan in terms of when I scan things. I don't want to leave scans up on screen for too long. And let's jump into this morph ball lock again. And that opens the way to this rather ominous orange looking room. This game has atmosphere up the wazoo. And yeah, it's quite sinister up ahead. We can have a little scan and find out what's been going on. Like, these guys are dead, right? Yep, no life signs detected. They certainly look dead, honestly. And we're about to find out why. Alright, here we have the Parasite Queen, the first boss of the game, like really early in. And let's have a quick scan of you before we start the battle, because yeah, as the boss of Frigate Orpheon, it is another missable scan, so yeah, make sure you scan. Most bosses are missable, so just keep that in mind. And let's load her up with missiles. Generally quite an easy boss, because there is a little manipulation with the missiles you can use. Dodge out the way. So even though I'm on Veteran difficulty, it's still not particularly hard. Veteran only really changes how much damage you take from enemy attacks and how much damage you deal. But yeah, it's generally not that hard, I don't think. There is a third difficulty, but you have to unlock it by clearing the game, and that's a hyper mode difficulty. Might be nice to play that, but not necessary at all. And yeah, here's a Veteran difficulty coming in here, because all those missiles that I fired in would usually be enough to finish her off, but no, she just has a little bit more health this time. Let's jump out the way of those plasma shots. Pretty simple first boss, just keep strafing to the side. In order to do like a quick dodge, just hit the jump button while strafing around. And there we go, one final charge shot to finish her up. Parasite Queen defeated, and we get a little orange medallion thing, which I'll explain later on. There's a certain thing in the trilogy version with those, so yeah, I'll have to explain that a bit later. But we're not done. Even after defeating the Parasite Queen, Reactor Core Critical, it wouldn't be a Metroid game without a timed escape sequence that we now have to escape from Frigate Orpheon. As I guess defeating Parasite Queen causes things to go into meltdown? Question mark? I don't know why. Don't know why those two things have correlation to each other. But yeah, now we just have to escape. And we have 7 minutes to get out, which is plenty time. And there's a little thing here. If you scan this thing before turning the corner, we can disable one of the defense turrets up in the ceiling, so don't need to worry about it. You can still blast it off the ceiling if you want to, though. Speaking of blasting off, don't need to deal with these space pirates because they're gone. An explosion triggers when we enter the room and just wipes out a bunch of them. Though I'm sure I've had one space pirate survive a few times. I'm not sure what that's about. They're not supposed to. I just realised I don't have any missiles left. I emptied them all into the Queen. Let's shoot you down. General charge shots are the way to go in, because we don't have any more missiles. Charge shots are essentially the same thing. And let's skedaddle down this ventilation shaft, which is the alternative route we saw on the map before. I've got a bunch of parasites just crawling in through the pipes, but they just do minor chip damage if you run into them, so don't worry too much about it. You can just tank the blow. And if you did miss a parasite scan towards the start, then you can scan them again here, and it will count as another scan. Make sure you do it before leaving this area, because parasites don't appear in any other area. This is our last chance. Gotta wait for that to blow up. And go on through. Oh, maybe I should exit more before we're going up slopes. This is a bit slower. Though having said that, I'm not a speedrunner, so I'm not too fussed about little things like going up slopes too fast. Up this way we have a couple more defense turrets. I don't have any more missiles, but charge shots work just the same on these things. They're actually quite similar, and I think they do roughly the same amount of damage, charge shots and missiles. I think the biggest difference is that missiles can lock on to enemies. That's not particularly noticeable if you're not using free aim. But it can be quite useful if you are using it. I don't think I'll get to show off in this episode though, maybe next time around. The missile lock-on thing. I don't know if I explained all that properly, but yeah. Yeah, missiles have a homing function towards the end. And a bit of a minor jump scare there, as a piston comes in and blasts you back. Don't think that can crush you against the wall, because there's a bit of narrow space towards the end where it just won't connect. Don't worry, they wouldn't do that sort of cheap death thing. It's just to, like, frighten you, I guess. If I recall correctly, up this way, through this door. Hey, it's Ridders! Should be a familiar face if you've played many other Metroid games. He's a major recurring antagonist. It's Ridley, not Ridders. That's my affectionate nickname. To turn off the defense turret around the corner. Second time we've done that. And yeah, up here we have another scan point, but if I back up a second... Hey, come on now, I wasn't that close to it. Stop repositioning me. Well, that triggers this event. We get blown back into the elevator shaft, and we lost our chunky shoulders. Yep, lots of malfunctions. We don't have our various suit. That's the shoulders. Lost our missiles, morph ball, charge beam, grapple beam that we only used twice there, and yeah, we've now lost all our upgrades. We've become primitive. Here is an alternative route, and yeah, this is where the other route led out. If you looked at the map, you might be wondering where the other route led to. We've now come out way back at the entrance, and we've got like 3 minutes to spare, so yeah, very, very lenient time limit, don't worry too much about it. And freedom! So we've now come down on Talon 4. the main planet of Metroid Prime, on a bit of a gloomy day it seems, completely rainy, and we escape from the exploding frigate Orpheon, which I've got to mention actually is probably one of my favourite stages from Smash Bros. Brawl. It's janky, but a lot of fun. Shame they didn't bring that back in Smash 4, but that's a little off topic. So I think that's it for this episode. We defeated the Parasite Queen, we had a brief encounter with Ridley, and we've pursued him down the surface of Talon 4. And in the next episode we will go in search of Ridley, and maybe regain some of our lost abilities that we just had blown out of us in that elevator shaft back there. So yeah, I will see you next time for more Metroid Prime. Bye for now.